Hi, my name is Tony Dennis. I'm the leader of the Northern California Youth Rush program here at Sac Central. This program of Youth Rush, it's a 10-week program for students to come and experience 10 straight weeks of canvassing or colporteuring. This is where they go door to door carrying books of a spiritual nature, such as Steps to Christ, The Great Controversy, Christ Object Lessons, along with other health literature that our church puts out to help people live the healthiest lives they can possibly live, both mentally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally as well. Students carry these books door to door, helping those that may never come to church, may never see a church service, those who really need to be reached where they are instead of coming to us. And these students, they take the books, they receive donations for them, and it actually goes towards their education, wherever they're going, whether to an Adventist university or somewhere else. So they're helped as well. But the biggest help that they receive is through doing active ministry. The students come and they learn more about the books that they're taking to these people, and in learning more about these books, they learn so much more about Jesus, and they get deeper into their Bibles. They have worships every day. They're encouraged to have a devotional life, and so lives are really changed here. Proverbs 11:25, I believe, states, "He that watereth shall be watered also himself." And these students really have that type of experience here at Youth Rush, and they really learn how to push through trials, through struggles. This may be the hardest work that they've ever done in their lives. They receive an experience that they can take into any line of ministry, any line of work that they do afterwards. They can take it back to school and inspire others to go out and do active ministry for God and really help those who are in so much need to know the truths that are so essential for the times that we live in.
The power of prayer and the power of ministry. And I'm only 17 years old, and I already get to experience God's amazing appointments for people, and He has so many other sheep and other pastures.
That's why I canvas, for people to meet the people, not for the money, not for the books, but to meet people that I can pray with and that are actually interested in God.
I wanted to spend my summer doing something for God, and I also believe that this program would help me get the experience I need for my future. I'm planning to become a medical missionary, and I believe that this would give me the experience in talking to people who may not have even heard of the gospel or may not have even heard of Jesus.
Many students join because they're looking for a different experience than they've ever had in their lives. Many of them have heard from their friends how great it is. And so they want to have that same experience. They see their friends' lives changed in just 10 weeks in the summer, and they want to come and see how their lives can be changed.
When I was doing one of the streets, I met this lady, and so when I came to talk to her, she was at first very frustrated with me. At first I was scared because she was like, "What do you want?" Then I started helping her, and so then after that she's like, "Thank you for your help, and I'm going to listen to you." She started actually reading her Bible, and one of the days when she was doing her personal worship, she started studying, and she found out that we were actually supposed to worship on the Sabbath. And she was just very excited about the books. She wanted to share them with her family and just wanted her family to get to know God more than what they already had. And she said that we were like an answer to prayer for her, that we stopped by at her house and she was able to get those books.
I think one of my favorite experiences was one time I went to the store, I knocked on it, and this lady came out. And I noticed she was having trouble speaking. But I was talking to her, and she told me that she was a Christian. It was really a blessing because it was the first time that I actually offered prayer at a door. It was just amazing to see that God was able to bring me to her so I could offer prayer.
So I went into this faith shop, and I met this guy, and we just started talking, and I presented him on the cookbook. And he's like looking through it, and he's like, "Yeah, this looks good, I like it." And then the more he looked into it, he's like, "Yeah, but I don't eat any of this stuff." And I was like, "Oh no." And I was like, "You know what, I have the perfect one for you. This is a man's book." And I pulled out the Great Controversy and I handed it to him. And he was like, "Oh, do you have anything on Revelations? Because I've been reading the Bible." And then I said, would you mind signing up for Bible study? And he said, "I actually, I've been reading the Bible and I made a promise to the Lord that it would just be me and him. And I was like, sometimes the Lord sends someone by to help you out. And he's like, yeah, you're right. So he ended up signing up for Bible study. He has his Great Controversy and he has his Daniel Chronicles. So I just pray that the Lord will bless him richly. And I know the Lord will. So I'm really excited for him and excited to see what happens in heaven when I see him again.
I went over to a house, knocked on the door. A lady was inside, and she was pretty rude. She was just kind of had her door shut, and she's just saying, what do you want? What are you here for? Like, I'm not interested. And I just politely said, ma'am, I'm just a student working on a scholarship. And I just persisted a little bit, and she finally opened her door and came out. And she started opening up to me a little bit about herself. She said that she suffered from COPD. And I said, I understand, ma'am. I understand your frustration. I get frustrated myself sometimes as well. And I said, would you be okay if I pray with you? And she said, okay. And we prayed, and I was a blessing on her. And then she thanked me so much. I could tell she appreciated it a lot. And it was just really cool seeing how I could just really reach out to someone.
I was reading a story called, in the book, The Open Door, which has influential literature and animals testimonies. And one of the stories that I read had the testimony of someone that came to a door, and the person was completely blessed, and they were like, wow, you were an answer to my prayer. It's like, it wasn't a coincidence that you were here. And so that really inspired me. So my prayer request for that day was to find someone that would happen to me. I wanted to have my own experience like that. So that day, I went out, I was praying that I'd have a powerful experience. And I met this lady, I knocked on her door, and first of all, she was really receptive. I showed her my cookbook. She ended up getting a few books that she was really happy about. And then I left, but then I felt impressed to go back and pray with her because she was going through really tough times. And she was like, it's not a coincidence that you're here. I was praying, I was reading my Bible this morning in Psalms, and I was just praying that someone would visit me, and when you came to my door, I knew it wasn't a coincidence. And so I was really happy I had my own experience, a really powerful experience for me, because I got to be someone else's answer to prayer.
And I crossed the street, and I met this lady. She read the book, Peace Over the Storm, in Spanish. And she said, I have that book. I bought this book last year. I was like, really? You would really enjoy this one. And I showed her He Taught Love, which is Christ's Object Lessons. And she was like, oh, wow. And she started tearing up, and she started crying. And I was like, my friend is really sick, and she's in Mexico. I think she would really like this book. The thing is, I don't have any money. I'm not working. I haven't been working for the past couple months. There's no way I can get this book. So I said, you know what? Your neighbor actually gave an over-donation for you to keep this book. And she started crying all over again. She was like, God is so good. Thank you so much. And she was like, I'm going to mail this book to her. She was very, very thankful. She said, God sent you to my doorstep. I wasn't going to get anything, very stressed, but I think God sent you to my door for a reason.
So that's what Youth Rush is all about. And there are many, many amazing experiences that these students get to have through this time.
And I just can't wait for heaven, where I get to give Harold a hug, and I get to give Sunshine a hug, and Andy, and I get to give all these people that I've met. It's like, yes, canvassing is so hard. It just pulls out of you, but you are only getting a glimpse of what Jesus went through for you. And before you really accept him into your life, what he goes through to get you to open the door. And canvassing is an art because it's God's art in a way, because he's collecting souls who are ripe one by one.
God is truly blessing, and he's doing amazing things through us. But the thing is, we have to be willing to be used by him. And if we just plead with him and keep on praying, he will bless and he will see us through. So it's amazing being here and doing ministry and serving for our Lord.
When I was 11 or 12 years old, I remembered our teacher asked us, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he told us to write on a paper everything that we wanted to become when we grow up. And I remember clearly, I wrote down 3 things instead of 1. I actually wrote down I wanted to become a missionary, number 1, and then a doctor, and then the third will be a co-porteur. And now I'm actually living all of them all at once. I'm a doctor, I'm a missionary, and I'm a co-porteur. It's really just so beautiful how all the things work together for good to them that love God.